My name is Gary Mansky, and I'm with a company called Prairie Growth Solutions. And today, a number of us, not just with Prairie Growth Solutions, but some of my fellow coaches and business strategists got together and thought, let's talk a little bit about what we do and how we do it, and provide some value to customers out there in the world. So this is our first raw podcast to talk through some of those things. So what I'll do is I'll let everyone else introduce themselves and their company a little bit, and then we'll kind of dive into some topics. So John, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is John Lilienthal. My company is Statement Business Acceleration, and I work with small businesses just like the other guys here.
Sean?
My name is Sean Borga, and I'm with Your Biz Coach, and I help sign companies. And also, we are creating a lead gen software and application for the trades, basically, not just signs, but signage and other trades.
Cool. And Jane? Save the best for last.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Jane Lee with BDM Solutions, and I am your marketing specialist.
There you go. There you go. So let's for the folks that are tuning in here, let's talk a little bit about our backgrounds. And let's start with Jane, and we'll kind of go in reverse order. So Jane, what's your background?
So being in Detroit, I can't get away from automotive. So I've been in the tier one automotive component business side, sales and marketing and development, business development for 20 plus years. And then, things happened, and I said, I'm tired of doing this, and I'm going to go out on my own so I can dictate my own time and what I want to do and who I want to help.
Excellent. Excellent. Sean, give us a little background on what you bring to the table here.
I've been self-employed pretty much since 14, including paper routes and mowing, and then started a parking lot maintenance business while in college. Kept that going for 12 years, sold that. Started into a sign company, grew that for 22 years, sold that in 21, and then decided, well, in between I had a failed partnership, and then after I sold my last business, I had another failed partnership. So lots of lessons learned on both sides. So,
Excellent. Excellent. Real world experience there. John?
I have sold. I live in the Detroit area as well, but I have avoided automotive as much as possible. I've been in the software industry for about 25, 30 years, selling large, high-end software to large corporations is my background for the most part. I have taught sales. I have taught marketing. I have worked with people. I have managed people across the country. And I bring that and my leadership experience that started with me with the Marine Corps, and I've learned a lot since then about what I learned then. But so I do statement. I'm sales, marketing, and leadership for the most part.
Excellent, excellent. And Gary Mansky with Prairie Growth Solutions. My background is in hospitality and restaurant management. I moved into IT and did a lot of work with some Fortune 500 and larger organizations in tech support. I've also helped some very large software companies that will not name in building out a number of different customer and partner channel services as a vendor. And I've worked at a couple of partners for Microsoft as well. So kind of a broad, more of a W-2 leadership executive perspective. And we all came together because we all are doing something on our own independently. And we kind of follow the same general methodology, which is something called profit acceleration. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So who wants to kind of explain how we go about things? Because I think it's a little different than a lot of, business coaches or consultants out there.
I'll go. I like to look at it as we look at a business from where they are today and find out where they want to go and help them get there by finding out what's standing in their way of their success. So they can be profitable, as Gary mentioned, but also be able to scale profitably and grow and eventually step away from the business and have it run itself while you're gone, whether that's permanently or just on a long vacation or just spending time with your family instead of every day at the office.
So that's for the guy that or gal, the business owner that their personal goal is to keep their business, but not necessarily have a job, actually own a business. So move from being a owner-led organization to a systems-built organization, just at a real
Yeah.
high level. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to chime into that?
Well, I was just going to mention really quickly, a lot of people want to sell their business, and when they get to that point, they can't because they don't have one.
Yeah.
They have a job, and when they leave, it's gone. So,
Jane, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, I'm driving. We're gonna have to skip me right now.
Okay, I can just cut that out. Sean, what do you think?
Well, I'm building a framework right now, and one of the issues that I address is the 70-hour work prison. So it's how do you get yourself out of the 70-hour prison?
Yeah.
And it's like we said, we're building systems, we're hiring people, we're teaching them to grow. In the sign industry, in the trades industry, there's a lot of technicians where they're great at what they do, but they never been taught, how to run a business. I mean, I came out of college, I had technical graphics, so I had a background in design. I had no clue what I was doing, learned the hard way, long way, expensive way. And so now it's trying to teach these business owners that they don't have a business like John said, but we can create them. They can create. We can help guide them to having a business and owning a business.
Yeah.
And so yeah, 100%.
Very cool. And I know if Jane this is completely unscripted. We want this to just be a conversation. And I know Jane is traveling today and is not able to chat necessarily at the moment. But if I asked Jane that question, I know what she would answer. And she would say that what makes us a little bit different is it's almost like a physician that, we don't come in and give you our idea of what you should do. We first have to diagnose what your biggest challenges are and kind of understand, to steal a little term that Sean just said a little while ago, was, where are you and where do you want to be with your business? So, we're not here to come in and prescribe medication that you don't need. Our goal is to help you get from point A to point B and prescribe the right path to get there based on where you are right now and some of the challenges that you're facing. So, that's kind of our goal, is just to help business owners meet their challenges, solve their challenges, and get where they want to go.
and I'd add to that, we're not going to make you create a business that you don't want. You want to be an owner of a business. There are other things we can do to say buy back. I like to call it buying back your time. You're doing everything now. Why don't we get you to a point where you can now hire somebody to do some of that stuff you don't like to do or you're not good at, and then you can concentrate on bigger ideas, vision, those kinds of things. Where do you want to go? But if you simply want to keep being the owner operator, so to speak, that's fine. It's just that if you want to sell it, there's not going to be anything there. So a lot of people want to build something that they can, have for a long time.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Anything else you'd like to add, Sean?
Yeah, on that. So in my framework, I'm developing the 5X exit strategy. And so basically it's along the lines of what John's talking about. Is there's so many people in the trades that have all their eggs in one basket for retirement. It's the business. And they think as a solopreneur or as a 5-person company, and they're holding down 2, 3, 4 roles themselves, and their wives are doing the same, that they have an asset. Well, they have assets in the equipment. They might have a little bit of goodwill, and then that's it. So they
Yeah.
might be thinking, prime example, I visited a company in Nashville a couple of years ago, and I was actually looking at buying them. And we met guys doing 1.5 million in sales, 5-person company, so didn't even get to the bottom line because we started talking. He's in the bucket truck putting up signs. His wife's holding down 2 or 3 roles, and he wants 1.5 million for the business, 1.5 million in sales. And I'm just like, you don't have a business because when you leave, I have to replace your wife, you. So as an investor, I can't come in and buy your business, park my money there, help grow it in some kind of capacity, whether it's vertical or other areas, and then be able to sell in 3 to 5 years. I almost have to reinvent your company. So the value that you have, they needed 1.5 million to retire. Their value was maybe 300,000 in trucks, equipment, and some goodwill.
Hmm.
And so what we're trying to do on the exit side is meet them where they're at now. Where do they want to be? Catch them 3 to 7 years before they want to retire, and then build them an asset that will sell to an investor, to another company. They can hand it down to their kids, generational, whatever it is, but it has value structure to where it becomes, you open up your pool so much bigger than this tiny little thing of, yeah, I want to add some trucks and some goodwill and maybe a couple of your employees and that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of exciting. And with the baby boomer generation, the exit strategy is very big, and it's just going to get bigger for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
So
That's one end of the spectrum, right? The sale, the exit. There's also a lot of businesses out there or a lot of people who have been recently laid off, especially like in the IT industry. And they want to do something on their own. They want to get out of that W-2 space. And, they want to build something that makes sense. But they have to be careful that they're not building a W-2 job for themselves, that they're building a business. And so on that end of the spectrum of starting a new business, we can help as well, lay the foundations and get things in place that help them build out of the gate what they want to achieve with their business at the end of the day. So a couple different, aspects there, but I think it's important to note that we work with people all along that continuum.
mm-hmm.
Right, and I think another thing, especially with a newer business or somebody, say, is a programmer and wants to start building things, and they're really good at that. Teaching them things like, what's a balance sheet? How does that work? How do I know if I'm profitable? How do I know if do I just pay myself at the end of the month with what's left, or do I have something else going on? And so we can, financial training is really important. Not at a high level. You're not going to be a CPA, but at least you understand. Um, we use the example, for example, we use this one thing where, okay, you want to have a 20% margin on your products, and you go and you mark up your product by 20%, and at the end of the year you go, how come I only made 15%? Right? I was trying for 20. What went wrong? Well, it was in not understanding the difference between margin and markup. And I've dealt with people that have been in business for 10 years. They don't understand that. They struggle. Well, maybe we just have to raise prices to 25%. And then but I can't do that because that's not the market. So
Yeah.
there's just a lot of little things that as a programmer or a sign person or something, they just don't understand that business look. And believe me, if you have an MBA, which I have, they don't teach you that stuff in college either.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people, I'm very much generalizing here, but a lot of people start a business because they're a good technician at what they do. I don't mean that necessarily just in the IT space, but maybe I'm working for a landscaper, or maybe I'm working for someone else, and I want to do this myself instead of work for them. And they're really good at that thing, but they maybe don't have that business side experience, and that's where we want to come alongside them and help them with that as well. So,
And to kind of understand that, we're going to give, I'm assuming through this, we'll give book suggestions along our calls there is Profit First. I had to look up the author. I couldn't remember the author, Mike Michalowicz. And that is a fantastic book to understand how you're building for specifics. So you're specifically building for what John was talking about, a profit margin, bills, taxes, and if you can't understand that front end, you don't know if you can't read a P&L, you can't read a balance sheet, you don't know what a balance sheet is, you can't measure anything else.
Yeah.
Until when the accountant says, hey, you made money or you lost money. And boy, I've talked to enough people that, we used to be able to pull a report in a day. Like the day, if someone wanted a report today, I could have a report in 15 minutes. And
Yep.
yeah, it's just amazing how people don't know that, but that is the biggest piece of your business,
Yeah, and that doesn't replace needing an accountant or a tax professional, but that
Right.
the book you mentioned is great. I actually had a
Mhm.
conversation with 2 accountants earlier this week, and they both talked about that book. But it's great for the operator. It's great for the business owner.
Right.
And the other thing is, if you're like, "Whoa, I don't even understand what P&L means, profit and loss, by the way, or balance sheet or statement of cash flow," we've got some training that we can offer that will help, at a basic level, that'll kind of introduce people to that. So, if there are things like that people are interested in, we'd love to hear that too and help them out with that. But yeah, this is just a discussion podcast to bring up various topics. If viewers have topics, they can reach out, and we'd love to talk about those. And we'll maybe have some guests on sometimes, or maybe some of us will be able to make it and some of us won't. But we're excited to bring this to you hopefully every week. And we hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. And we appreciate your watching. Please feel free to share this. Like it. We want to grow a viewership that is interested in pragmatic and real world business strategies. We're not trying to sell anything. We are just trying to provide the guidance that business owners need to be successful.
Absolutely.
See you guys.
Thanks for watching.
Take it easy.